sometimes a Minnie Mouse look and say that, yeah, Krishna, I can take you for a ride. No, you can't. So do you have to always like fight back once in a while and say, I think you're like crossing a line here. Let me just tell you who I am.
Actually, it's quite the opposite. People, when they get to know me, this is when I realize they think I'm very unapproachable. I think
when they get to know you?
Yes. Oh. As in, like when they start talking to me, they're like, oh, you're actually really nice. I'm like, what is it, guys? I mean, I have a little bit of a resting bitch face. So excuse me. So they kind of, misinterpret it.
Welcome to the MFN podcast. It's the world of mixed martial arts in our country. We've got the promoter, the very lovely Krishna Shroff once again with us. And she's as badass as she is lovely. Thanks again for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Do people sort of mistake the, sometimes the Minnie Mouse look and say that, yeah, Krishna, I can take you for a ride. No, you can't. So do you have to always like fight back once in a while and say, I think you're like crossing a line here. Let me just tell you who I am.
Actually, it's quite the opposite. People, when they get to know me, this is when I realize they think I'm very unapproachable. I think
when they get to know you?
Yes. Oh. As in, like when they start talking to me, they're like, oh, you're actually really nice. I'm like, what is it, guys? I mean, I have a little bit of a resting bitch face. So excuse me. So they kind of, misinterpret it.
But that's fine. Right now, see, when you also become a promoter, your DMs, I want to know that. When you wake up in the morning, all these fighters want to get it like in there. Yeah. How do you not stay emotional? Sometimes they must be sending you long stories of their struggle.
Oh, for sure, yeah. And they all have these amazing stories,
Then how do you choose merit over the story, which he could eventually be very good?
Yeah.
But do you take that decision or how?
I do. At the end of the day, I look at it as a profession. Yeah. And professionalism has to be a huge part. Otherwise we're going to be picking up any Tom, Dick, and Harry. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And at the end of the day, we're such a quality promotion. We have to get the best guys and girls out there. We can't settle for anything less, But we have contenders too. So we definitely give, a numerous amount of them this opportunity to eventually then make it to the big stage. But there's a process to everything, like there is in any profession.
It's not Krishna's DM only.
No, definitely not.
International fighters, I remember one of our press conferences that we were speaking across the world, you had said that a lot of international fighters have also started taking notice.
Yeah.
When do you think MFN as a global brand started to come into its own, when you suddenly felt, oh, this is now working?
Yeah.
Which one was that?
I would probably say MFN 5 is really when we saw the switch.
Yeah.
MFN 4 we had given to a third person to kind of run the show.
Right.
And that's when we realized this is not how it's going to work. We have to take matters into our own hands.
Right.
And we really took it to the next level with MFN 5. And then, beyond that, it's just been nonstop. I mean, the recognition, the amount of people that have reached out to me from all over the world is overwhelming.
Do they also ask, how are you all still doing this without a lot of external support? A lot of people will ask this also.
Yeah.
How long can literally one family do this? Sometimes, do you ever think of that for those who are watching and listening in, who might have a fear? Yeah, what if they suddenly say that it's not working now, we want to throw in the towel? Have you ever felt like throwing in the towel in these last 6, 7, 8
Definitely not. And, as time goes on and as more people start believing in our vision too, we're realizing there's so many people with great knowledge about the sport, so we're currently at such a good place because there is no MMA in India without Matrix Fight Nights.
Yeah.
And we have the best of the best reaching out to us to be able to work with us.
How do you think, so you take this to a certain stage. Everyone has goals for like their leagues, they do that.
Yeah.
One big question was, why didn't you all do a team format? People always ask about that, saying that every league across the world, non-fight, has a team format. Was there a thought behind not having teams?
It's a very different sport.
Okay.
MMA, it's the amount that goes into preparing for a fight for these guys and girls is immense. Yeah. You can't have them be fighting every week or every month even. A legit training camp for these guys and girls is about 3 months.
Wow.
It's a 3-month
for
preparation.
For one fight?
For one fight.
Wow.
It's a 3-month preparation, to get to optimal levels, both physically and mentally. To be able to then get into the cage and do what they do. It takes a very special human being, and it would be unfair to do that to them.
So when they do ask you this, ma'am, why can't we do this? Why can't we do that? What do you say, that it's never going to change? Or do you say that eventually we might think about it if it reaches a stage where we have such a large pool of fighters that can actually be part of this and they can train and not be exposed every month to a fight?
Right. I mean, we never close the doors on anyone or anything, We're still a growing brand at the end of the day. So we welcome knowledge from all areas.
Women always will look at this in a different way. I now see women in the gym doing this, non-contact MMA training like that. That also is great. But this is also one of those promotions that very, very actively promotes women, and people come to see those fights. Those fights of high quality. We've had fighters like Pooja Tomar, who I remember seeing her once, not in her best shape, came back very strongly the next year. And next MFN said, listen, I needed a point to prove for myself. How did you think about involving women, and also, is the talent pool large enough?
Why not? We have some of the best girls in our country signed to us, and not just the fighters, but on our officials team. We have so many, capable women that have the knowledge of the sport and have the authority to take on that role. And I think it's so inspiring. I learn so much from them, and I take a lot of motivation from girls like Pooja, who overcame adversity and came back so strong, and now she's our champion. It's
actually
phenomenal.
they're far more colorful than some of the men. I've sometimes realized, they've got these personalities. That's another thing that, would you say that Indian sports men and women don't necessarily, have the kind of character sometimes that you need of people across. So in tennis, if you have like in the earlier days, you had Agassi, then Roddick, and then Kyrgios, and all these people came. They were not the good guys of tennis, bad boys, even Serena, but people across the world love them. Do you think that's a far organic process in MMA? It should happen where they're all bad boys.
For sure,
But they're still waiting because they still feel whether, I don't know whether the world will accept me. Is that changing, do you think?
Sport and entertainment have always gone hand in hand, and I think these guys are now becoming a little more aware through MFN that, all right, our job doesn't just start and end in the cage. There's a whole process that goes beyond that. And I think I'm seeing a lot of them making more efforts to, build themselves, their profiles, and make sure people are more excited and looking forward to their fights because of that. I think it's definitely, it's gonna take some time because they haven't been exposed to the things that MFN has exposed them to. But they're definitely learning and they're on the right path.
Sometimes when they come to these lovely 5-star hotels also, they're very excited about that as well. As little as that also, I think, has been different for them. Because the respect that MFN has somehow given these fighters also is huge. When you look at fight capitals now, and I will ask your mother this question also, you don't have to agree on the same thing. What's the fight capital of this country now? Do you think, or the next 1 or 2 years, where you feel the maximum amount of talent can actually come through with quality fighters?
We've got so many sections now, we definitely want to take MFN to Bangalore. That's on the cards. There's huge talent there, huge intrigue there. I love the Naga boys. The Naga boys are phenomenal. They're so professional, they live and breathe this lifestyle. And, just that respect that martial arts imbibes in you, they have that. They embody that. So I respect them for that a lot. Delhi, of course. We've been there for a few shows now, and we've seen the craze.
There's also more bravado there also. They just come and they feel like they own it.
Yes, absolutely. But the craze that, the fight fans bring in Delhi is like no other.
Do you think the paying public will start to now come in also? For a long time, you have to publicize it with that. There's a mathematics that is involved with it also. Do you think that we'll reach a stage soon enough when there'll be those cues coming in? And what do you think as a promotion you should do a little bit more to sort of increase that public awareness?
To be honest, I feel like we've been there for a while now. If we wanted to, I believe we could truly sell out a stadium. One of these that we've gone to in Delhi, 100%. There's the knowledge has grown immensely for the sport. The intrigue's grown immensely. I believe we were definitely at that position a few MFNs ago.
True.
Yeah.
Delhi, I completely agree because they're
Yeah.
always sold out. And one of the questions that people have always asked me, brother, it's a 5-6 hour event. People stay till the end. I said, yeah, till the end and till the crowning and with the belt and all that.
Yeah.
Has any MFN really surprised you when you went in that you didn't expect too much out of it and suddenly you said, wow, this really came out great.
MFN 2.
Yeah?
Yeah, our first show in New Delhi. After MFN 1, our launch was in Mumbai.
Right.
That was, a lot by invite. We opened it up to public as well. But
Yeah.
the craze for the sport in Mumbai it's still growing.
Yeah, yeah.
We went to MFN 2 in New Delhi. I was blown away. It was madness, and after that we realized we got to keep coming back to Delhi.
And every time, the most commonly asked question, they say frequently asked questions, do people ask you, is the blood real? Is it staged? Because sometimes wrestling, which is
Yeah.
entertainment, is
Yeah.
different. So a lot of the times people get confused. So, straight from the horse's mouth.
Yeah.
When they ask you that question, is it staged? Is that real? Are you throwing like little bombs of blood around here and there?
Of course not.
Yeah.
Of course
But have
not.
they asked you that ever? Is it real?
I've never gotten those questions. No.
Yeah, because you're running it.
Yeah.
I get asked those questions saying, how can it be so much? What will happen? Is that a real tooth coming out? I said, yes, that is a real tooth.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's the comparison that comes in wrestling entertainment and MMA.
WWE, that's entertainment
Yeah.
in the sense where, it's staged for your entertainment purposes.
Yeah.
MMA, it's a real fight
Yeah.
with rules and regulations,
Yeah.
with, a trained professional athlete that possesses the skill set to do so.
So there's no question about it being, staged.
Definitely
There is a
not, yeah.
stage, but on it, it's absolutely real.
Anything can happen.
Yeah, and we've discussed this in other episodes as well. And I keep saying, going back to it, because you have to always remember it. Every time you step into an F1 car, you realize that death is a possibility. Every time you step into a cage, things are a possibility that could require a stretcher as well. All right, thank you so much once again for joining us. Remember, that's what we do. This is the MFN podcast. MFN's Instagram handles, and Krishna's always there to answer her DMs as well. And you can always sort of get in touch with us if you want more knowledge about it, more questions. Salil Acharya is my Instagram handle as well. This is an open podcast where, I'd love to have people write and stay. You can ask them questions directly. And like I said, you can also say, like you'll have a lot of these, ma'am, this fighter has been winning so many fights, why aren't you taking him in?
Right.
How do you deal with that? Because now as the interest keeps growing in,
Yeah.
do you want to say, okay, and they say, ma'am, I'm ready to fight this person, and if I don't get a chance, ma'am, then this. How do you deal with those guys?
I mean, it's important to listen to the public.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we're nothing without them and without their support. So we take all of that, into light, and we definitely implement.
Yeah. So if you have a legit concern, come through the legit way and it'll be sorted out. Till we meet again, this is going to continue on for a long time. And also, for those that are truly listening into the podcast, we'll have some offers for them. Some things that they can actually get. So then you become our true blue fans. But thanks again, Kish, for joining us.
Thank you.
I'll see you again soon. Take care. And bye-bye. And keep listening to the MFN podcast. And all your views, Spotify gives the option of writing in advice. I will put a poll out there. I'll put questions out there. And you can answer or send us questions however you want. Take care and see you soon.